But I have my. You have to let me get to my.
Okay, yeah, get to your two hilarious things. Let's do it.
Okay, so here's the question. So let's say this was a playoff match, and let's say it was 2-2 tie, right? It was 2-2 in the score on,
Yep.
right? And let's say we get a red card, right? Where are you going on your sub? Your first sub?
Going on my first sub.
Yeah.
With who we have.
Yeah.
And you're saying red card with Almada?
Almada, yeah.
With Almada.
Let's go straight with Almada. Because I was shocked at our first. Well, I wasn't shocked because. But anyway, I was scratching my head.
Yeah. I don't know who it was.
And who's on the bench? Who do I have to bring on?
All the guys you had.
Okay, so
you had Sosa. Actually, Sosa wasn't on the bench. Still.
Yeah, Sosa's not.
But he was out there on the field kicking balls.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's still traveling with the team.
So Sosa's not an option for me because
he's not on the bench. He should be, but he's not. And it actually brings up something. The only defensive midfielder on the bench is Fortune. Yeah. The only defender on the bench is Parata, I guess. And then Lennon was still there.
So this is at what point in the game am I subbing out here?
This was like it was like 30 minutes to go.
But you're saying hypothetical.
No, like in this game.
Oh, in this game, it was 51st minute that Almada got the red card.
Pretty early. Then.
Yeah, so we got 30 minutes left of play. Right.
What are you gonna do?
40 minutes play. I am gonna put in either Josh Wolf potentially or probably Wolf.
So you go like for like.
I'd put in Wolf and I'd shift in Saba to take Almada's role.
Okay. Well, then it's not so crazy. So Pineda went with. I'll give you a hint. It's the exact same sub that he always makes. Nothing different. Like no situational anything.
Yeah.
So who's the first guy he brings off the bench every time now?
Oh, Miguel Berry.
No,
is it a trick question? Yeah, it is. Who
it isn't. No, there's a guy now.
Mascara.
He brings on before Berry.
Now that would have been hilarious, actually.
So he brought on Mascara for Saba.
Well, why would you take Saba out of the game?
Why? Because the only guy who can control the ball.
You went into this game like, I want to win. Let's take off our designated player who certainly can play more minutes because he's only played, 8 games for us? Something like that?
Right.
Yeah. Again, I'd be fine.
Saba was on international duty, though, too. So, anyway. But it's... There's no
Saba doesn't count minutes.
I had this vision and I was like, okay, so if you're a coach, you're thinking, okay, it's your normal sub's gonna be Mascara for Saba. That's what he's doing every single time. And so the game calls for something different because Almada gets an unlikely red card. We lose a center midfielder. Hopefully you got to maintain the tie. Right? Playing it down a man, you got to maintain the tie because you got to get to the shootout, right? That's what you got to be thinking as a coach, right? Hopefully you snag one or whatever, but mostly you're thinking down a man, let's hopefully get to a tie, right? So you'd think you'd change something. You wouldn't bring on Mascara for Saba. You would actually do something defensive. Right? That seems to me the obvious thing to do, but it's like he was like, oh, maybe I can't think of anything. I'm going to go with Mascara for Saba. Like what?
He can't think of anything that would be defensive that might actually make the offensive players on our team actually play better.
Well, so the
what
obvious
a novel concept.
So the obvious thing would have been either A, bring on Fortune as a defensive midfielder, right? And hold down the middle. You're down a man.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to be under pressure in any professional thing. You're going to be under pressure and you're on the road. So you're down a man. Right. And it's a tie game. So it's not like, it's not like, you're losing or something. You got to go for it. You're a tie game. So you got to go for a tie. Right. So you either have to bring on Fortune in the midfield. Right. And play an extra midfielder. So you bring on Fortune for one of the forward line. Or you bring on Parata as an extra center back again for somebody on the forward line.
I thought this was hypothetical but you're saying your thing was this was hypothetical in the playoffs. I thought
even in the playoffs.
So that's why I'm playing with a winning mentality because you shifted it to what if this was in the playoffs?
No, but in the playoffs it's a 3-game series, so I would go for a tie and hope to win on PKs.
Oh crap! I forgot about the 3-game series.
Yeah, you got to win on PKs. That's what I would be if I were on the road at number 1 Cincinnati. right? And I was at 2-2 and we got a red card. Let's say this was now in the semifinals later, right? Or somewhere later in the tournament. I would say, pack the bus, right?
Right.
And still counter. I would leave on the speed to try to counter, maybe we can catch him, right? But you have got to say we're undermanned at a man down. You got to have an extra defender on the field.